Ic5 Encyclopedia Nutrition. Nutrition under new management, guided by the forces of the universe, your sacred council. Discover the secrets of the universe, which reveals an assembly or circle of 32 laws of universe and nature, or better said, the guiding forces of universe and nature, such as duality, time, change, attraction, cause and effect, order, place and function, and many more. We are all looking for change, struggling in so many ways and aspects of our life. We may have an advisor, a healthcare practitioner, a nutritionist, personal trainer, or even a lifestyle coach. But we don't have access to them all day long. So enter the circle of vital and aware living and meet the Sacred Council, your personal lifestyle and awareness coaching team, always ready to assist you in every moment and in any circumstance. We are like visitors in a foreign country without knowing the laws and how everything functions in that world. We know a lot about the things of the modern world, but know little about the basics of life. See how they assist us with every step we make and with every breath we take, and make them practical in your daily life in dealing with your real self, your soul, your mind and your thoughts, your body, words and communication, nutrition, fitness, your life partner, children, the teenage years, getting older, stress, weight, disease, emotions, business, destructive habits, preserving the planet, studying, and friendships. For more detailed information on each of the guiding forces, see the intro booklet. There are endless words that can be connected to any subject, and each subject can have many books because each subject can be approached from various perspectives or angles. Most important, however, is not to forget that all that is said or written is merely an opinion, a truth, and not the truth. Because the spoken and written word is part of the creative world created in opposites, constantly changing and bound to time, and there is always more that can be said or written about any subject. Regarding me and the Sacred Council members talking about any subject, know that this understanding applies to that information as well. The information is formed from their particular point of view and brought to you through the world of visionary and mystical fiction. Hopefully, it contributes to your life and assists you to experience life in a more conscious, mystical, and magical way. By hearing or reading this information, you will come to the conclusion that you know this already, and you do, because this is part of your universal and spiritual inheritance. And often, we just need one word or a sentence that inspires and motivates us to do things differently or to think about a certain subject from a different perspective. The guiding force of the Creator. Make God a reality in your life. In regards to dealing with nutrition, give thanks to all you consume, because the eternal life-creating and life-sustaining force, which you have given endless names, is the essence of your food and thus connected to this source, otherwise it could not exist. Your essence is also that force, and to stay in consciousness, connected to your real self, your soul, and that eternal source, make that connection and awareness each time you drink and eat something. This is the real nourishment. However, watch out that it doesn't just become a ritual, and realize that all is a gift, and that you actually should say thanks to everything in and during your life adventure. Saying thanks is also a reminder that the foods and drinks you consume have to give their life to give you life. In regards to the food that have to give their life, be conscious to take the live foods that cause the least amounts of pain to that creature in creation. You do not have to be an expert in spirituality, religion, and the active element theory, or educated for the matter of fact. Just feel and look at all the reactions and listen to the sounds of those creatures and creations that have to give their life for our palate. The more fresh foods from nature you consume, the more pure life force energy you receive, and the more food that went through any process man invented and manipulated, the lesser pure life force is left. All these lesser pure foods and drinks leave waste and disease behind, and this costs a lot of vital life energy. As everything is a gift, let's nourish this body well, which is as well a momentary gift with the best way possible products. And the best products are the gift of nature in their most natural state. This is the vital fuel for the body car in which the soul and creator reside, and through which we adventure this world. Reconnect more with this eternal force, which is nameless, but which you have given a name, and reconnect more with your real self, the soul, because when you do not do this, you will feel lonely and emptiness, which you then try to fill up with food and drinks. Most unfulfilling habits have here their origin. This is the source of all trouble and disease. So get to the source and create a new life foundation in which and through which you find fulfillment. Quote, "Let food be thy medicine shall be thy food." Hippocrates. End of quote. The guiding force of the universal teacher. Master or be mastered. In regards to dealing with nutrition, ask yourself if you live to eat or eat to live. When you are addicted to certain eating habits and tastes, know that they have become your master and that they are ruling your life. When you really want to know what is good for your body nourishment, you must make a proper study and making better choices, and by doing so, eat to live, and try to give the best possible nourishment to the body. A good reason to nourish your body well is with the consciousness that the soul and gods reside within it, and that it is your duty to keep this rented vehicle in the best condition possible by nourishing it with the best foods. When you really want to get involved with your life, you need to get more involved with your body vehicle through which you have the opportunity to venture the mortal world. But in order to do this, you have to become the master driver of your vehicle again. The wheel of your body car is in the hands of your mind, directed by your sense organs, and you, who is really a soul, has no say anymore in the adventure of life. You are captured and mastered by the mind and sense organs, who are wearing your car out, do not maintain it properly, and give it even the incorrect fuel. You have taken the body, the mind, and this world for real, and all three have no permanency, and you have forgotten who you really are and about the real purpose of this adventure. Without the master plan, life will not be a masterpiece, but an adventure in which everything falls to pieces, and in which your body will be confronted with many breakdowns, of which the incorrect nourishment plays a big role. Quote, "The eating of animal foods interferes with one's spiritual refinement. It drags a person down towards the animal plane. It is a fact that so long as one eats animals, he will be more or less like animals. It is unavoidable that we should become like what we eat, just as we become like that of which we constantly think. We must absorb its qualities to some extent." Julian Johnson. End of quote. The guiding force of the power of the mind. Know the tricks of your mind. In regards to dealing with nutrition, know that the mind is a very powerful entity that can assist you in simple ways of optimum nourishment when it is under the direction of the soul. But it is well designed to keep you away from thinking about your real self, your soul, and the Creator. The mind lets you believe that you can eat whatever you want and lets you even forget about any consequences. It will come up with any excuse and goes that far so you can use food for a reward and compensation system. That you should listen to your cravings and that some bad food cannot be that bad for the body, and having the excuse, everybody is doing it. The mind will go that far that you think that life is not worth it when you cannot have your foods and drinks you are used to. It keeps you ignorant and keeps you enslaved. Quote, "The price of anything is the amount of life you exchange for it." Henry David Thoreau. End of quote. Inside this mind, you can still find a harmonious way of nourishing the body, but because the sense organs have taken the driver's seat, this information is not accessible, and you suffer the consequences. Everything regarding your nourishment is now conditioned and programmed, and everything inside the mind is now executed based on these conditionings. You think that you have control over your body vehicle and its needs, but the mind driven by the sense organs has you completely in control. Just try to get rid of one food or drink craving, and you know who is in control. And when you are able to overcome one craving, it will be replaced with another one. The guiding force of the true disciple. Follow the Master and the teachings. In regards to dealing with nutrition, when you have a spiritual teacher in your life, try to live up to the teachings and the commitment you have given to your teacher and teachings. And there are definitely some guidelines connected to nourishing your body. However, do not just go on the guidelines, which are general guidelines, for you must do a proper investigation what is specifically for you. You may have to go more in detail to find out what is the best within those guidelines for yourself. Many paths promote a vegetarian lifestyle for various reasons. But you could be a vegetarian by eating mass-produced white bread, sausages made from gluten, with fries and drinking sodas, and jeopardizing your health. So this all requires some effort. But is it not better to put the effort in this way than to put the effort in when we are not well and having to work ourselves out of not being well and feeling well? Look at the health status of most people, and you come to the conclusion that when you follow the masses, that you will end up on the unhealthy side of life. Food is a great impact on our well-being, and it is our personal duty to be and stay well, and you can do this out of respect to your teacher, your master, the teachings, and of course to the soul inside of you, and come to the Creator. Here are some reasons why to follow a vegetarian diet: spirituality, consciousness, ethical, environmental, health and disease prevention, and even financial. But what about protein? Just as you need to do some research when you want to know more behind the reasons why people choose a vegetarian diet, you must do the research to convince your mind that you do not need animal flesh in your diet. It is a choice, and every decision has consequences, which you are making according to the conditionings and the awareness you have. Quote, "May my soul bloom in love for all existence." Rudolf Steiner. The guiding force of your inner hero. Be the hero of your own life adventure. In regards to dealing with nutrition, do not follow the masses who mostly live life unconsciously and live the life of victims. They complain when they do not feel well and get sick, and do not even make the connection that food could have to do with a lot of their state of being. They put others in charge to help them out of the situations and always give their power away. Connect and reconnect with that real hero within you, and do not fall for the norm, and learn to be stronger than the mind enslaving you and addicting you. It takes courage to take a stand against the norm, all the misleading advertisements, and against the mind. In general, the path of a real hero is lonesome, as he or she stands in the center as an example and who lives eccentric. It is a razor-sharp living with the mind, who is the enemy and who wants you to be without any power in order to keep you as slaves and victims, not knowing how to free yourselves. So often do we see the hero connected to be focused in order to target the bullseye, and that focus is his or her sacred center, from which he or she approaches life, including nourishment. In the center, it is about consuming foods in its raw, fresh, and organic state, and according to the seasons in your environment. The ring around the center is where you consume the same foods but produced by man. The next ring is about preparing foods through one of the many heating processes. The next ring further away is about consuming mass-produced foods packed with pesticides and artificial fertilizer, and then putting these foods through a heating process and then adding things to them. The rings further away are about unconscious eating and drinking, packaged and canned foods packed with ingredients that do not belong at all in your body, snacking, overeating, and fast foods, and in the end, consuming genetically manipulating foods. Be sure, for sure, a hero gets tempted and falls away from that sacred center, but knows how to get back on track again, because there is a center, and without that center, you are eating all over the place and wondering why you get hurt on the battlefield of life. Quote, "We must also suffer one of two things, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret or disappointment." Jim Rohn. End of quote. The guiding force of maturity and wisdom. Learn from the wise elders and nature. In regards to dealing with nutrition, know that nature is one of the best teachers in regards to vital nutrition. Just think about what nourishment nature would take to nourish itself. Would it be fresh foods, or foods that were prepared by man on a stove, or which had gone through a heating process? Would it be water, sodas, tobacco, drugs, and liquor? You have given your nourishment in the hands of a money-making industry, which in general doesn't have your health in mind, and which supplies you with anything they can save money on and make money on. Maybe it's time to start growing something yourself. Maybe it is sprouting, creating your own garden, or when there's almost no space, use earth boxes in which you can grow almost anything without having to spend too much time. You all have some kind of hobby, and this one could really benefit you and those around you you care about. There is so much information available when you make this decision. It was in the past that the elders of the tribe had all the knowledge of the land and the healing properties of foods, and they were vital and wise individuals. However, in today's society, often getting older goes together with getting more confronted with signs and symptoms and disease, which in most cases is the result of the lifestyle you lead. Maybe it is wise to eat better during the years while getting older, and although there is no guarantee that sickness will not come your way, but at least you can say that you did everything possible to avoid it. When you reach that time being older in life and are not in the working world anymore, realize that the body doesn't require the same nourishment. Life and food can become even simpler. Quote, "Raw is the ultimate fast food." Jennifer Cornbleet, Raw Food Made Easy. End of quote. The guiding force of fantasy and magic. Live your life as a magical adventure. In regards to dealing with nutrition, get out of the stagnant and boring eating routines which takes out any magic in your life. Imagine you would have been exposed to an incredible variation of foods early in your life other than inheriting the food regimens of your parents. The child within you would have wanted to try it all, and when your body was still pure and not conditioned and contaminated, it would have naturally chosen for fresh and healthy foods, foods that give energy so you could play. Become that child again and be adventurous with your foods. Do as well some research on any food item and discover the story how they became part of your nourishment. And when you cannot find the story, just create one. Look at the foods that grow in nature, their color and shape, and where and how they grow. Are they not incredible? Let your life be a magical story, an adventure in discovering new tastes, different color combinations, and magical arrangements. There are endless ways what you can do in presenting foods and creating a magical atmosphere with beautiful decorations. Just think how you can set the table, the candles or other lighting and of course music that is soft and lets digest your food in peace. All these precious moments can become part of your fantastic life story, a storybook and fairy tale that you can spice and dress up at any given moment. You are the director of this movie, and do not let these magical moments and opportunities be taken away from you by you just shuffling your meals unconsciously down your throat, slouching in front of a screen and washing them down with numbing drinks. Quote, "One way can be learned by starting to see the magic in everything. Sometimes it seems to be hiding, but it is always there. The more we can see the magic in one thing, a tiny flower, a mango, someone we love, then the more we are able to see the magic in everything and in everyone. Where does the mango stop and the sky begin?" Vayu Joshua Carson. End of quote. The guiding force of translating messages. Decipher the symbolic meaning of messages. In regards to dealing with nutrition, know that everything you crave has a meaning and a message for you. When you crave all the time sweets, it definitely means that your body lacks proper nourishment, and that you probably have as well this sweet craving because life is looked upon as something not so sweet and even bitter. When you crave salt, it probably means that you do not get proper salts and natural salts in your body from fresh foods, and that you are dehydrated, being an effect of all the incorrect salts and the stress of constantly being on the go. When you're constantly hungry, snacking and drinking sodas, your body is definitely malnourished and lacking the proper energy. When you eat most of the time heavy foods and heavy meals, it means that you're in need of feeling grounded, which you can do through other means other than overeating and possibly gaining weight. The colors of your food that attract your eye also have a message, as the colors of earth, red or brown, tell you that you are seeking more grounding. Orange-colored food items bring you vitality and creativity. Green provide you oxygen and give you air. Blue gives you space and clarity. Indigo the feeling being in a fairy tale, and purple the sense of higher consciousness. Each food item, including spices, have an effect on your total being for good or worse. But are you still feeling this? Or are your meals so complex, packed with too many products and ingredients, a blend of too many things, like your life, which is too complicated and too complex? Are you constantly looking for a stimuli through sugar-related products, spices, snacks, alcohol, sodas, coffee and black tea to get through the day, which indicates that your body is empty and worn out and is in need of some healthier life choices? Why not sitting in peace with a peaceful mind in a peaceful environment with some peaceful, conscious and appreciating people? Has this become alien to you? And you now have to have the noise of music and talking around you all the time? Can you not enjoy the beauty and love in preparing foods? Because is it not said that the love of a woman goes through the stomach of the man? Are you still sensitive enough to pick up on how the food and with intention your meal was prepared? Do you seek the same tastes and the same places to eat, which indicates that you have lost the adventure of life and you are just looking for false security, which you try to control by behaving this way? Quote, "When it comes to eating right and exercising, there is no 'I will start tomorrow.' Tomorrow is disease." V.L. Allenaire. End of quote. The guiding force of the energy of solids and earth. Feel connected and keep on experiencing new. In regards to dealing with nutrition, know that there are earth energy foods, foods that grow below the soil or in dark places, who give you that sense of feeling grounded in a natural way. Often to get grounded, you tend to overeat, which is very hard on your system and leaves too much waste behind. In addition, it is the waste that is left behind of eating foods and ingredients that do not belong in your body, that collects waste that is not easy for the body to get rid of. When waste stays too long in your body, it crystallizes, like honey that sits too long in a jar. What do you think cholesterol, bile and kidney stones are? Nothing more than crystallized waste. The earth on which you have your momentary adventure lets you know to keep on experiencing new and reminding you that you cannot hold on to anything. So when you hang on too much on your food and taste habits, you go against nature and your body will collect too much waste. When that waste is not properly eliminated, you probably get confronted with signs of constipation and know that you go against the recycling system. An optimum functioning body eliminates after each meal and is more a professional cleaner and is not a collector. Your insecurity and wanting to be in control, which you cannot by the way, drives you to extremes of now being able to eat the same foods all year round and everywhere around the planet. All this goes against the nature of your body and against nature in general. In your body you have a memory and picture created that you must eat a solid meal which is in general connected to a full packed plate, but know that this is all just too heavy and your body has to work very hard and spending more energy in the process than the energy you should get from your foods. Getting back to earth energy foods. Know that they are also excellent to consume in the evening and in the winter time. Think about a carrot and ginger salad, beets, mushrooms and radishes and garlic and soups mainly prepared with the foods coming from below the soil or who grow in dark places. In addition, think about the cleaning and healing properties of potatoes, carrots, onions, ginseng, garlic and beets. Do some research. Quote, I have named the destroyers of nations, comfort, plenty and security, out of which grow a bored and slothful cynicism, in which rebellion against the world as it is, and myself as I am, are submerged in listless self-satisfaction. John Steinbeck, end of quote. The guiding force of the energy of liquids and water. Go with the flow and in moderation. In regards to dealing with nutrition, know that always eating the same does against nature and doesn't stimulate your immune system. That's why there are different foods growing at different times of the year. Go with the natural flow and be more flexible. You become rigid and stiff by your routine eating and because you demand to have the same. Know that you are connecting to the negative passion called lust. Stay aware that your mouth is one of the best trained sense organs, because from the moment you were born, you got comfort by nurturing yourself on the mother's breast. And in general, throughout your life, you celebrated your victories and defeats by putting something in your mouth. And do not forget all those empty moments connected to being alone and lonely, which you filled up with food and drinks. Eat and drink in moderation, which will nourish you much better. Just look as well at others and yourself how you eat. Be more creative in your way of eating, but as well more creative in how you present your food. The water energy foods grow up to knee height. Just think about all the vegetables that grow. And then the melons, the pineapple, the tomatoes and strawberries. And they are an excellent energy when you seek that vitality. The vegetable section is a great combination with fire energy foods and nice energy for lunchtime. Fire and water balance each other. Your body exists for the majority out of water, and that is what you need to drink. And know that all other drinks are liquid foods and have a different purpose. Drink the most fresh and energy-rich water, and do some research on this, because water is one of your main life ingredients. Know what you are drinking. Savor your foods by chewing them, but do not flush them down by drinking during your meals. Quote, sour, sweet, bitter, pungent, all must be tasted. Chinese proverb. The guiding force of the energy of heat and fire. Pace yourself in order to digest. In regards to dealing with nutrition, be aware that you are in general eat too fast, that you consume your meals not in a peaceful environment, that your meals are too complex, and that you swallow your food down before they are chewed properly, and this all creates tremendous stress on your body systems. When you observe this phenomena of stress, which is connected to too much, too fast and too complicated in all areas of your life, you know that it is impossible to digest life, the circumstances, and your food, and all stressing your body even more. On top of it all, on top of all of this, you consume heavy meals and animal protein, which takes a lot of energy from your body in order to be digested. They go too slow through the body, just like old food that went through a heating process. Not to forget the consuming of coffee, black tea, alcohol and all the sweets, as they go too fast through your system and you wonder why you get indigestion and feel burned out. Too much fire does that. The accumulating of stress and heat has then the effect on our mental state of being, which fears that it cannot have and do it all, and this results again in anger. When you look how you eat and live your life, you come very fast to the conclusion that your body and mind do not get a break, and know that this all will result in something breaking down. In regards to fire energy foods, which is foods that grow up to human body height, which are all your grains and beans, know that you consume too much of them. Your life is already fast, and on top you eat cereals and breads and pastry and spaghetti, and most oils are made from corn, and do not forget the corn syrup that is in almost every bottled juice. Most of these products are white of color and thus bleached and reacting as a soda inside your body. You get a quick high and then you're hungry again. Then the extreme fire foods are in addition on your plate, which is the consuming of animal flesh and animal products, all adding to the stress, as they are extremely hard to go through your system and adding to fear expressed through anger. Know that animals live in the kingdom of fear to attack and defend, and that you consume this fear, and on top of the fear which the animal encountered when it was slaughtered. In general, you consume most foods that went through a heating process, being this cooking, boiling, frying, microwaving, etc., and that these foods during this heating process lose their contracting force, which makes them going too slow through your body, expanding your body system and leaving lots of waste behind. Nature has a sunfire kitchen that warms all the foods through the heat of the sun up in a natural way. When the sun rises in the morning, it wakes everything up that grows in the trees. At lunchtime, all that grows from human-sized body down to the soil. And in the evening, everything that grows by soil has been warmed. So, a way of eating could be in the morning fruits and fruit juices coming from the trees, which are called air foods. At lunch, grains, fire energy food with vegetables, or a fruit meal of the fruits that grow up to knee height, which are water energy foods. And in the evening, foods that come from below the soil, also called earth energy foods. Learn to take more breaks, pace yourself in life, and consume easy to digest meals. Learn to be more gentle with your body, and consume your meals in a quiet environment, in peace. Last but not least, learn about digestive aids, which are used in different countries in the world after meals. You can use these as well when life itself is too much, too fast and too complicated. Do some research on basil, peppermint, papaya, fennel, anise and chamomile. Quote, I have to tell you the things I have told you often before, for until digestion is well established, medicine has to be taken. Sri Satya Sai Baba. End of quote. The guiding force of the energy of gases and air. Embrace, endure, and love it all. In regards to dealing with nutrition, know the existence of air energy foods that grow all in the trees, the fruits and the nuts, and who are excellent to consume in the morning, especially in juice format. It is the trees and all that grows in him that gets woken up in the morning by the sun. And it is at that same time you wake up. These foods are easy to digest, do not cost a lot of energy, bring fast energy, and stimulate the elimination system. Your heart is connected to the energy of air, located in the chest area, which is in the physical world, and is torn between what it likes and loves and what it dislikes and even hates. Both create attachment, by the way. Most foods you like or dislike are a result of your upbringing and thus conditioned, and you are attached to them. Open your heart and be open for new tastes. And no need to love one and dislike or even hate the other. Just learn to like and love it all, which aligns with unconditional love. Oxygen is another important factor and connected to your chest area in which your lungs are located. And it is oxygen that is the most important physical fuel, because without it for a minute or so, you die. You could do for months without food, weeks without water, but just a minute or so without oxygen. Know that incorrect eating costs a lot of oxygen, because fire, which is the motion and digestion of life, is only able to do its job when there is oxygen. Food brings life, energy and oxygen to your body, but when the foods are heated and processed, little is left, and basically we steal our own oxygen away from ourselves, resulting in a row of endless dilemmas. Oxygen, which we in addition receive through breathing, needs to be in your food and especially your drinking water, so make a study of your drinking water and how to get more oxygen in it. And then the food, green leafy vegetables, and think about kelp and algae in green powder format, coming from the oceans and lakes. They are as well an excellent source of food rich in oxygen. You all need oxygen. You need all the oxygen you can get, which needs to circulate through your blood and feeding every cell of your body, and offering you the capacity of endurance. And we need all the endurance we can get in order to go with courage through the adventure of life. Quote, "It is easy to hate and it's difficult to love." This is how the whole scheme of things work. All good things are difficult to achieve and bad things are very easy to get. René Descartes. End of quote. The guiding force of ether connected to audible sounds and verbal communication. Realize that everything you hear and say is just an opinion. In regards to dealing with nutrition, realize that through the power of communication, you judge foods and other ways of eating, and it is through the power of words that you can cut yourself off, or that you cut yourself off from different experiences regarding to nutrition. Whatever you hear or say about nutrition, know that it is not the only one truth, but a truth, an opinion, a preference. Through your voice you share your experiences, but let others decide what to do with the information. It is their adventure of life. When you want to learn more about other ways of eating, you must have an open ear and willing to listen, because you learn more by listening than by talking. Accept your conditioned way of eating and accept that also of others, who are just conditioned as you. And when you like to experience differently, you must be open for new and different, which is often easier said than done. Foods that are consumed need energy to be digested, and for that reason, to eat in silence is much better. And when you want to experience more peace, it is beneficial for your body to go on a simple fast, with just consuming fruits and vegetables for some time. The less hard your body has to work, the more calm it is. So much energy is wasted in talking about who is right and who is wrong, and other energy you lose by trying to digest your life which is far too fast, you're trying to do too much, and things are becoming too complicated, including what and how you eat and drink. Quote, all our words are but crumbs that fall down from the feast of the mind. Kahlil Gibran. End of quote. The guiding force of ether, connected to the conditioned mind, associations, and non-audible communication. Stay aware of your limited and conditioned realities. In regards to dealing with nutrition, realize that through the power of reason, you can come to a lot of conclusions regarding nutrition. But know that you are still working within the range of your conditionings and thus limitations. To have an open mind to new ways of nutrition is much more difficult because you have to break away from the familiar. But it is in the unfamiliar and the void where adventure is. It is probably wiser to just study nature instead of the knowledge of man. Through the power of concentration and focus, you can take yourself out of the scattered energy of life, inside your mind and around you, and devote all your energy to the digestion of the foods you're consuming. To assist your digestive system even more, you can go for some time on a single food adventure, where each meal consists only about one food. Just enjoy an orange meal, just some nuts and chew them well. Just some apples or watermelon and go on. This will give you more clarity and focus. Foods talk to you in various ways because they have a taste, a color, a special shape and smell, and of course how they are presented on your plate. Be mindful, however, of your thoughts in regards to foods, because the mind can trick you in every way possible, and know that many foods you are conditioned to have an association created in the past with feelings. Foods are for the nourishment of your body and not to nourish your feelings, although you can do that as well, and which has a different purpose. Is life mainly about eating and drinking? It seems that way. When you would look at the time you spend in shopping, food preparation, and eating. The world within your mind is an endless shopping center with endless foods that present themselves in the outside world, but you only shop and eat familiar items. But what about different and new foods and possibly adapting a different lifestyle with more vital and healthier foods and drinks? Quote, freedom is not procured by a full enjoyment of what is desired, but by controlling the desire. Epictetus. End of quote. The guiding force of ether, connected to the universal mind, higher virtues, and soul communication. Observe yourself. In regards to dealing with nutrition, did you know that you are worshipping foods when you desire tastes and basically are addicted to them? Just see around the world how much attention is given to foods and how much time you are busy with the subject food, from buying to preparing to finally sitting on the table. You also make others who have the ultimate diet solution into God, when they have not done it themselves already. There are no solutions, only experiences and different ways, and you have to find out what is the right way for you, and understanding that this may change again in the future when your body has different needs. Also know that more than 50% of your daily energy is used by digestion, assimilation and elimination. Is life all about food, or is food to give you the energy to adventure life? Within the universal mind are much more adventures available that you are familiar with. But to get access to this information, you must break with and through your conditionings. Learn to observe yourself in all aspects related to food, and observe especially what certain foods do to you, because as long as you let food rule your life, you cannot observe and possibly change many destructive patterns and the negative passions. To plan a short fast on just juicing or water may help to cut some old blueprints and giving you more clarity. Do some research on fasting, the times and the ways how to do it. Look at the life of some great souls in the past who all knew about fasting. There are endless ways to fast, and fasting means to lay off your usual ways of eating. Last but not least, do not forget to meditate, which is the real food for your soul. Quote, meditation, food for the soul, Sri Chinmoy. End of quote. The guiding force of duality. Accept and deal with the duality in everything and everybody. In regards to dealing with nutrition, know that food brings you energy, but that it also takes energy to produce that energy. Accept that any food item can give you an uplifting experience, but also a less welcome experience. Life is an adventure in the world of opposites. Are you experiencing unknown foods and other food modalities? Energy dead and energy-rich foods, cooked foods and raw foods, acid foods and alkaline foods, winter foods and summer foods, cold foods and heated foods, spicy foods and bland foods, low heated cooked foods and extreme heated cooked foods, always the same or seasonal foods. Fast foods are foods prepared with love and care. Canned foods and fresh foods. Environmental foods and imported foods. Inspirational and boring foods. Foods from the supermarket and foods from the local farmer's market. Solid foods and liquid foods. High calorie and low calorie foods. White flour products and whole wheat flour products. Complex foods and simple foods. Inorganic foods and organic foods, hard to digest foods and easy to digest foods, aggressive foods and calming foods, foods that make you hyper or grounding foods, white sugar or cane and fruit sugars, processed foods and unprocessed foods. There is much more than you are familiar with. Quote, staying in the same place, doing the same thing, without an alternative option, or even a desire to move or transform, is not what I would say is conducive to one's development. Bianca Guerra. End of quote. Eat and drink as well with your left hand, which is the feminine and ingoing energy that nurtures your being, and not with the right hand. There is a reason that you can find the fork on the left side of your plate and the knife, which is the masculine side, on the right side of your plate. The guiding force of time. Learn to live in the moment. In regards to dealing with nutrition, know that each food item has a lifespan and as well a certain time to be digested, assimilated and eliminated, and giving you energy and other benefits during this process. After foods are harvested, they have a certain time before they spoil, and in the mass production and fast lane of doing business, which is not aimed towards your health and well-being, many things are done that diminishes the quality of the food. This ranges from harvesting the produce too early and then speeding it up through a ripening process in an aggressive way, to preserving the produce with dangerous preservatives. When you don't think fresh organic foods, it becomes even scarier. Do some research what is all done to produce while it is growing, artificial fertilizers and pesticides, or even before, in regards to the genetic manipulation of food. Get an insight what is all happening in manufactories and read the labels on your canned and packed foods. It is all done to manipulate time, but it will cost the body a lot of energy and time to hopefully get rid of all these unnatural substances which we consume while eating these products. And most likely, you will get confronted with sickness, which costs you again time, in order to get better. Then we get to the question, if you are eating too fast and consuming foods that go too fast or too slow through the body. Cooked foods and animal proteins and products are in general going too slow through your system and leaving plenty of waste behind. Sugar and sugar-related products and white bleached products such as white bread, white pasta, and white rice that react like sugar go far too fast through the system, creating a short-lived energy high followed by a down energy. It is much better to eat fresh produce and organic products. Start to eat slower by spooning your fresh juices and savoring them. By means of this, you get the most benefit from that food. Plus, when you would eat with chopsticks or taking smaller bites of any food, you would eat less. Take more time and make better choices, and be in the moment when you consume your foods. When you want to gain some more time in your life, get away from the hours standing behind the stove and eat more fresh and adapt a raw food lifestyle. When you talk about fast food, this is the ultimate fast food and much better for you. Quote, "The universe is full of magical things, patiently waiting for our wits to grow sharper." Eden Philpotts. End of quote. The guiding force of change. Learn to go with the ever-changing adventure. In regards to dealing with nutrition, know that your body is based and designed for change, as it is part of the creation in which nothing remains the same, as it is always changing. These are thus the facts. Are you mostly consuming the same foods and going to familiar restaurants? Stay in tune, because your body needs different and healthy foods to activate different parts, organs and systems in order to stay vital and fit. It is like a brain. When not stimulated, it falls asleep, and so will your organs and body systems. You think that you are adventurous, but always sticking with the familiar. Experience something new. Change is the way to go, and when you start changing your eating habits, you will see that your life is going to change as well. By eating the same, you go against the most natural phenomena of life, which is called change. When you do not tune in to change, you are trying to control, which is also actually out of your hands, as most things control you. But even worse, when you connect with control, know that you live in fear, and fear expresses itself in disappointment, frustration, and anger. As souls, you came down in consciousness to experience the creation, and by sticking to the same, you stop the adventure and seeking security in a world that constantly changes. Pick up the adventure again and go with change. Quote, "The key to change is to let go of fear." Rosanne Cash. End of quote. The guiding force of cycles. Tune into the natural cycles of life. In regards to dealing with nutrition, tune into eating seasonal foods because they have a special purpose for your body at that particular time of the year. Are consuming foods that were artificially treated in order to speed up their natural growing process good for your body? Or probably not. Are you eating food items that were genetically manipulated? Are you consuming foods that go too fast through your body, such as white sugar, sugar-related items, and highly processed foods? Are you consuming foods that go too slow through your body, such as heavy meals and consuming animal proteins? Are you eating heavy foods in the morning and shocking your body with coffee and black tea? Are you snacking and eating late at night? Do you realize that these and other items interfere with the natural cycles in nature and interfere with the well-being of your body? Go to the local farmer's market and buy seasonal foods and make better choices to assist the health of your body. In general, seasonal foods are there in abundance and less expensive. Did you know that consuming foods goes through a three-part cycle, being digestion, noon to 8 p.m., assimilation, 8 p.m. to 4 a.m., and elimination, 4 a.m. to noon? Eat with the sun energy for a while. Food coming from the trees in the morning, at lunch foods from the soil up to 6 feet above, and in the evening foods that come from below the soil. This tunes into a three-part cycle. Did you know that because you are part of a consumer society, that the lands on which you produce growth is being manipulated and not in tune anymore with its natural cycle? After harvesting the lands in the past, they got some time to rejuvenate. But in your modern life, in which most is mass-produced, the lands do not get this time out, but are artificially stimulated to keep on producing. Quote, "The highest form of ignorance is when you reject something you don't know anything about." Wayne Dyer, end of quote. The guiding force of balance. It is nature's duty to recreate balance. In regards to dealing with nutrition, know that nature and the nature of your body will do everything possible when there are imbalances in order to recreate some balance again. The real duty of the body is to survive at any cost. The body shows you through endless messages when the balance is disrupted. It shows you that you are in debt in the bank of your cells. When the balance is disturbed, it's the duty of your body to give you messages until you start listening. The natural state of your body balance has the duty to heal, and it will clean. You can do this voluntarily or involuntarily and get confronted with signs, symptoms, and disease. By having healthy credits in the bank of your cells, it possibly allows you to go a little bit off track for a little bit, but you have to watch out for the balance not to tip over and you going into debts. There are endless little signs showing you that you are going out of balance, ranging from getting easily irritated, signs of indigestion, skin problems, and many more. Listen and take action before you have to pay an even bigger ticket. Are you eating in a balanced way? Are you living to eat and addicted to certain tastes and foods, or are you eating to live? Are you overeating and snacking? Are you consuming everyday sugar-related food items? Are you drinking water or sodas? Are you eating the modern fast foods? Are you eating more foods that went through a heating process or consuming more raw? Are you mostly hungry? Are you getting through the day with coffee, sodas, and other artificial stimuli? Are you craving very spicy foods? The question list would continue, but I think you're getting the gist. Make sure you consume at least half of your nutrition in its raw, fresh, and organic state. Consume simple meals and wholesome products with the least amount of additives and other unhealthy ingredients. Savor your foods in a peaceful environment and eat to live so you can enjoy life and get less confronted with signs, symptoms, and disease. Quote, "If you purify your soul of attachment to and desire for things, you will understand them spiritually. If you deny your appetite for them, you will enjoy their truth, understanding what is certain in them." St. John of the Cross, end of the quote. The guiding force of necessities. Simplicity is the key. In regards to dealing with nutrition, are you consuming easy and simple foods, or are you consuming complex meals with lots of different and processed food items? Life has become very complex, and complicated, and it looks as if you are matching it with the way you eat. Who can still eat in peace, sit down and eat just a couple of mangoes, and regarding it as having had a proper meal? It all needs to be more and more foods in one meal, and each food packed with endless other substances. You are only satisfied when you had a 3 or 4 course meal, and not to forget the drinks. Everybody complains about stress, but just think about the stress the body organs need to go through in order to digest these meals. Or do not forget all the chemicals that were sprayed on them while growing and all the preservatives within. When you cannot change the work stress around you, at least stop the stress you are causing by eating these complicated and complex meals and food items. The simpler the food, the easier it digests and the more energy you receive. In regards to drinking, it is the same. In general, you drink very little water but consume other liquids that are not water but liquid foods, and again packed with a complexity of harmful ingredients. On top, there is so much confusion what others and especially the media tells you what you all need to eat and what supplements you need to take. Everybody has the answer, but why is there still so much disease amongst you all? You need to do some research and look at what animals in nature eat. Is it a complexity of food or mainly simple foods? Quote, with all the conflicting information on diet, what makes sense? Pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, larvicides, genetically modified organisms, chemical fertilizers, microwaves, pasteurization, homogenization, hormonal injected animals, color dyes, artificial additives, and high fructose corn syrup, or raw organic, sun-ripened plant food. David Wolfe. End of quote. The guiding force of wholeness. No need to go more into separation. In regards to dealing with nutrition, are you still separating everything in calories and proteins and carbohydrates, minerals and vitamins? Just eat organic, fresh and raw foods and all you need is right within them. Be careful consuming unwholesome foods that will take your energy. Foods in their original state are already whole and complete. Except for sprouting, man depletes the wholesomeness and unity of food by endless means of preparing it through unnatural processes. Just think for a minute. A mass-produced tomato is grown with lots of artificial fertilizers, sprayed with chemicals, and grown on soil that is depleted from many nutrients because the production needs to go on. The tomato gets unripe picked, ends up in a factory where it gets ripe through an artificial process, peeled and cooked to be packed in a can. The heating process takes away the color and takes from the original taste, and for that reason color and sweeteners and salt are added, and God knows where they came from and made of. The can gets shipped and sits somewhere on a shelf until bought, opened and then put through another heating process, mixed with endless other foods. And you still think that it will do well to your body. You may call it entertainment, but do not call it food for life. Realize that all that is unwholesome which goes into your body, that your body takes that what is missing from your own body. Basically, you steal the minerals and all the good stuff from your own body. You eat or consume yourself from the inside out, and parallel come the signs and symptoms and disease and prematuring old age. When you are not eating raw, try to purchase organic and whole wheat products and wholesome products, and be careful not to fall into another confusing world of supplements, of which most of them are not even absorbable by your body. Possible when you would put them around plants who possibly can do this, you are better off to eat the plant after. So when you want to go into supplements, just look for juice-dried or freeze-dried plants. Greens and barley green and kamut, blue-green algae, spirulina, kelp, wheatgrass, hemp, and many other grasses. Quote, just as there is a trend towards high tech today, there is another trend towards high touch, homemade, and wholesome. Merrill Gardner, end of quote. The guiding force of comprehension. There is always more than you can see or comprehend. In regards to dealing with nutrition, you think that you have figured everything out by analyzing and labeling foods, but know that there are endless things you haven't figured out yet. You think that you know everything and have an answer for everything, but why is it then that there are still so much sickness? But I eat what the Food and Drug Administration recommends, you would say. How do they come up with these numbers? How are the tests done? How accurate does it need to be? And when you look back by doing some research, these numbers change for one reason or another at certain times. In general, anything on a label, even the nutrition breakdown and the list of ingredients, is all about marketing. A lot of disease can be contributed to your unhealthy eating habits. That could be the major cause. But it also could just be making the drop go over the bucket and you as a result not feeling well. Realize that there is more to take in consideration as life is an intricate web of why things are happening, and on the subject food, think that it is not just the food substance, but its essence, where it came from, who planted it, the one who prepared it, the surroundings you consumed it in, your thoughts and emotional state of being. Why are some people who ate the same food ending up with a food poisoning and others not? There is more you don't understand and haven't figured out than that what you know and have figured out. Last but not least, do you really have any idea what happens with the food molecules and their chemical reactions when you stand behind the kitchen stove or playing chemist by preparing food through other heating processes? And on top loading it with preservatives when made ready for shipping? This is more a losing gambling game, gambling with your health. Quote, after the event, even a fool is wise. Homer, end of quote. The guiding force of improvement and perfection. There is always room for improvement. In regards to dealing with nutrition, you possibly think that you eat healthy, and you maybe do. Compare this with how you used to eat, but do not stop there. There is always room for improvement. Do some more investigation, as there are endless food modalities, and don't forget, the closer you eat to nature and the natural rhythms, that you get most benefits. Be careful to not seek the perfect diet. Realize that there is not one diet for you as an individual human in a world of change and seasons, and not to forget you have different needs at different times. However, in whatever diet you are involved, there is always room for improvement and better choices to be made. More fresh foods. Reduce spices when you are addicted to them. More simple meals. Fast at least one day a week. Eat according to the seasons with seasonal foods. Let go of deep fried foods and go more into stir frying. Drink less sodas, coffee and alcohol. Try to eat dairyless for some time. Stop the sugars. Use digestive aids after meals. Try to go organic for some time. Experience to eat without animal flesh. Expand your grain meals with unknown grains. Step into a health food store. Learn to do sprouting. Stop drinking with your meals. Dine in peace. Quote, "Any diet you follow can be improved by eating more green leafy vegetables, less sugar, and less refined foods." Jennifer Kornbleet. End of quote. The guiding force of order, place, and function. Everything is part of an order and has a function and place. In regards to dealing with nutrition, realize that there are different foods and each having a different contribution to different functions of your body. Realize that every food item, when taken at the right place and time, has a function for your health and well-being. There is a clock of the day, the month, the year, and there is an order to it all, what your body needs and is capable to digest easy. Once you get into this way of thinking, all starts making more sense, and you will see how we cause problems to ourselves and nature. Study more about nature, different food modalities, seasonal foods and foods that grow in your environment, and the functioning of your body. There are obvious and less obvious rules, and when you have no clue, you will pay the price. Ignorance in nature is not an excuse. There is an order to all things, but when the order is disturbed, nothing is able to function properly. Just as consuming food has its function, fasting and cleaning your body also has its place. When you don't choose the right foods and when you do not chew your foods before they end up in your stomach, the order is already disturbed. When you do not eat in peace and you eat for the wrong reasons, the order is disturbed again, and when the inside machinery is slicked up, you cannot get proper benefits from the foods you consume. Know that most foods that people are allergic to shouldn't be in the body anyway. Make a study for what foods your body is designed for. When you have an office furniture company that has an assembly line designed to process wood, don't fool yourself by taking instead of wood metal. Things will start breaking down. Quote, "If you only do what you know you can do, you never do very much." Tom Krause. End of quote. The guiding force of cause and effect. Every action has not just one reaction, but causes a chain reaction and creates a reality you have to deal with. In regards to dealing with nutrition, realize that every thought connected to food and the consuming of every food item are actions that will give you health, vitality, and prosperity, or the opposite. What you eat, you will become. Each food item and each meal creates a reaction and chain reaction in the chemistry of your body, affecting you physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, and this in return affects you in your food choices. In order to become sensitive to find out how each food item affects you, you have to clean the body and to do some fasting, as everything is so conditioned, and for that reason cannot give you an honest and clear feeling. It is the same when your body has cravings. Know that you cannot trust them, because you are so programmed and conditioned. However, it would be a great adventure to experience what each food item does to your body on all levels, don't you think so? The cells of your body are the new building blocks and energy for the making of new cells. So when your cells are not healthy, you are building new cells without real health and energy, and the result is an unhealthy and malnourished body that shows many signs because of this. So choose the best and fresh produce you can and consume foods for keeping your body healthy and vital. Choose places when you eat out that also have your health in mind. Consume foods that inflict the least amount of pain and suffering to your fellow creatures and creations. Do not try to find any justification, for there is plenty of other foods. Quote, "A vegetarian diet is necessary to minimize the consequences resulting from the violence and cruelty of killing for food. Unless the burden we bear as the consequence of doing such actions is kept to a minimum, we cannot hope to rise spiritually. Hector Esponda Dubin. End of quote. The guiding force of contraction and expansion. Quality or quantity? In regards to dealing with nutrition, be sure to consume more foods in their raw state as they have a balance between the contracting and expanding force. This way of eating is exercising the body from within. It is like the muscle of the food which is doing the same what the body is supposed to do, expanding and contracting. The entire body mechanism is created with these two forces. Just think about the heart, the lymphatic pump, and the peristaltic movements of your intestines. But everything works this way. Know, however, that foods, when going through any heating process, that they have lost the natural contracting force within them. Heat expands, and the foods will expand your body's systems and mechanism. Heat is the energy of the sun, which expands. These foods go slower through your body. The system starts expanding after a while and also start working slower and are less efficient. Just think about low blood pressure. When the body mechanism expands, there is also more room to store waste. And when waste sits too long in your body, it crystallizes, which is part of the contracting force and making things hard and tight. At this time, everything that goes through your system has to push itself through it because there is less room. Now, you can think about high blood pressure. Be sure to get up to 75% eating of raw foods into your body, or you will get confronted with the end result of consuming too much foods that went through a heating process, like explained before. Also eat more foods from your environment and go with the seasons that automatically bring balance. Just think about why you eat different foods in the wintertime and in the summertime. Think about spicy foods in the hot countries and fruits. They bring the natural contracting force of balance. Through your world of import and export and preserving foods in the most strangest ways, you are only about more and more money, more this and more food. These low energy foods take away from the quality of your life and you are suffering, and maybe it's time to focus more on quality and energy-rich, fresh foods. Quote, "We are living in a world today where lemonade is made from artificial flavors and furniture polish is made from real lemons." Alfred E. Neumann. End of quote. The guiding force of repetition. Using the ability to repeat for the right reason and purpose. In regards to dealing with nutrition, do you realize that repeating the same food patterns for years has actually become an addiction? It is an easy test. When you can easily change and eat different, you are not addicted, otherwise you are. Most modern eating habits do not bring health, but bring stagnancy in your body and your life, which is actually meant to be an adventure, to eat according to the seasons, your environment, and your specific needs. Just think about fitness for a moment. How can your body get proper stimulated when you do all the time the same routine? It is the same with food. The capacity of repetition is meant to learn the basic things of life, such as talking, walking, dressing yourself up, body care, and learning some other basic skills such as reading, writing, counting, and knowing about the things of the world. Unfortunately, you use this capacity also to condition bad language, strange behaviors, and forming addictions, including food addictions. When you are busy with repeating anyway, just start repeating some more healthy food patterns. And when they become dominant, they will push the old habits and conditionings in the background into a dormant state. Know as well that there are also endless positive rituals from the past that bring you to eating more calmly and honoring the food that will nourish you. Realize also that being trapped in eating just fast and unhealthy foods puts you in a health danger zone with all its consequences. It is time to make some changes. Or are you enjoying good health and vitality? Quote, thinking is easy, acting is difficult, and to put one's thoughts into action is the most difficult thing in the world. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. End of quote. The guiding force of reflections. All your experiences are a reflection from within yourself. In regards to dealing with nutrition, do you realize that what you eat reflects on and in your body and the state of your mind? Look possibly at yourself and your fellow inhabitants of the planet. Do most of them look healthy and vibrate zest and vitality? Look at all the body postures, the skin texture, and the body shapes. Hospitals are packed, and most of you have a medicine cabinet, and more people get confronted with sickness. There are many factors contributing to this phenomena, but the intake of poor quality food is one of the major contributors, which is part of your lifestyle, and that is what you reflect in the mirror of your life. You are so addicted to certain tastes, stuck in rituals and cultural food habits. Almost everybody is dependent on others and factories delivering you food. Have you asked yourself if they have your health in mind? You are very critical at the politicians making their decisions, which is a reflection of your poor decisions you make in the choices of your food. You are against heavy pollution and chemical warfare, but are you reading the labels regarding the chemicals you put into your own body? You are possibly not fond of wars, but you are at war with your body and destroying it. And when the mines you have placed are not exploding right now, they will at one point in time. What do you think sickness, signs, symptoms, and disease is? You talk about freedom and free will, but you do not even have the courage to change your way of eating because it is easier to stay in the norm and slave of unhealthy foods. Start reflecting health and energy by consuming healthy and energy-rich foods. Quote, courage is the first of human qualities because it is the quality which guarantees the others. Aristotle. End of quote. The guiding force of rhythm and vibrations. Realize that what you are, you will attract or repel. In regards to dealing with nutrition, do you realize that the sum total of everything you went through in the past and which made you who are you today attracts you to certain foods? When you have lived and are still living a low-quality lifestyle with lots of stress, destructive habits, and unclean thoughts, it automatically draws you to low-quality foods, and this includes fast foods. When you live the rich man's life, which is a lot of focusing on appearance, name and fame, connected things, you will be attracted to high-end dining, where mostly the main focus of the cook and food items is not geared towards optimum health, but more for the show and the presentation. When your life is about climbing the ladder of consciousness, you will, according to that consciousness, choose for certain ways of eating that is connected to being more consciousness about health, well-being, and the well-being of others, other creatures, and the planet. Fear has to do a lot with the way you eat, because you trying to be in control is already based on fear. Fear attracts fear, related diets, and is as well connected to the consuming of animals and things that contain animal substances, because the animal lives in the kingdom of fear, and by doing so you consume fear by eating animals, and you will be consumed by that fear. This is the law of attraction, and you are like magnets, attracting that what you are. Remember that it is about the sum total of your life that will result in a real and long-term change. The more you care in all aspects of your life, the more care you give to your food, and that food and the people who really take care of you, you will attract that and they will come into your life. Realize as well that each food item, meal or place where you consume your meals has also an energy vibration that either contributes to your health and well-being or not. Just think about the healthy energy vibrations of food that come from a peaceful place in nature, of foods that are artificially produced and gone through all kinds of processes. Just start your lifestyle changing adventure and see what happens. Quote, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." Seneca. End of quote. The guiding force of service. Learn to serve and care. In regards to dealing with nutrition, know that the creation, including all food, serves you without any discrimination, and the question arises, how are you going to take care of you, and how do you care and serve back? Learn to serve your body in the best way possible and be thankful how food serves you with life, and realize its real essence. It is that real essence, which is that eternal life creating and life-sustaining energy that serves with unconditional love to everyone and everything. You have gone away from nature and do not take care of your own food anymore and are dependent on others who hopefully have your health in mind. But mostly it is by them serving you with the cheapest foods possible in order to make the most profit. Be ready to expect low energy from low energy foods and possibly disease, or start taking care of your own food yourself. Go on the internet and also do some research on the foods you are eating right now. See about the chemicals and pesticides and artificial preservatives your body has to deal with, and ask yourself if this serves your body well. Most foods you eat are and consume in restaurants, except for fresh raw foods, are mostly served to you for money reasons, ego, and for entertainment, and they have little or no contribution to your health. As you learn to serve yourself better with better foods and learning to take care of yourself, you can then start serving others from that new base, which is with care and love. Quote, "Every man is guilty of all the good he didn't do." Voltaire. End of quote. The guiding force of individuality. There is no need for comparing and competing. In regards to dealing with nutrition, know that you are always comparing foods and meals taken at home or elsewhere. Trying to have the same taste and meal is a boring process, and you set yourself up for disappointments, which is the result of having expectations. As long as you are comparing and competing, you are trapped in the realm of fear. Why even comparing? Enjoy each meal and actually each ingredient as a total unique experience. When you mix too many foods, it is very hard to taste each item. Learn to taste each individual food item and know that even apples from the same tree taste differently. Life is an ongoing adventure without expectations and without holding on to the familiar. Quote, "He who is not every day conquering some fear has not learned the secret of life. Ralph Waldo Emerson. End of quote. Also know that you are totally unique and individual, as there are no two the same of you in this world, and you have to find out what is right for you, which straight away indicates that when you are eating like others, that you haven't found your way yet.